What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at about $117,000 right now with 23 hours left in the day. It is the 8th of August now. It's a brand new day, 23 hours, 30 minutes left in the day. I don't know if I said it, so hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. What an immaculate day that was. What an absolutely phenomenal day. Today is the 8th. Tomorrow is the full moon, the 9th, and we did that whole full moon analysis earlier today where, typically we do pump into this moon and then actually dump afterwards. So when I say dump, it could be terrible. It probably won't be terrible. It's likely going to be just a little volatility, and then we move back up, right? Some kind of higher low, and then we continue to move up. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did move up today and even going into tomorrow as well. Yesterday was a nice day to the green side, 2% up. I don't think we've had a 2% green day since the 22nd of July, right? That was like the second biggest move on an upward perspective since we've been consolidating in this range here. Definitely validating. I think we've validated the low at this point, right? If we look at this from a relative low here to a relative high there, we have closed above our 236. Now what we need to do is continue to close above here, right? I would say that if we close today above the 236, we validated this as a low. We could come up and we could even come back down and then find support and still go up higher. I wouldn't be worried about coming back below this, right? The one line that we need to not close below is $113,000. If we close below $113,000 on a daily time frame, we likely will not just take out this low, but go down to 110K, if not down to about $105,000. So there's downside prospects there if we close below the yellow line. Don't get that mistaken with the fact that the price could go below it, but then close above it. That's okay to do. But at this point, man, I'd be kind of surprised if we did go even below these daily closing highs here, even below like 115K. Let's look at the liquidation levels and just see what we're dealing with here. We're going on a one-day time frame. Man, people are shorting this thing all the way up, aren't they? The longs still have it. The longs are definitely piled on more than the shorts. I mean, we've got 3 billion. It's like every day, right? 2 days ago, the longs outweighed the shorts. I think it was like 1.5 billion, and then yesterday it was like 2.5 billion. Now it's about like $3 billion in longs versus shorts. But the shorts are at 2 billion. There's actually more shorts today than there were 2 days ago, and we've moved up. So we're moving up and people are short. That's exactly the environment you want, especially whenever you take into perspective the whole 30-day time frame here. The shorts eclipse the longs right now. I mean, the longs are definitely piling on as the days go, but we're getting right up against this area. We're starting to get fed, man. Especially with these shorts piling on every single day. We're feeding ourselves all the way up here. Short positions are definitely fuel to the fire when it comes to the upside. We'll clear out this wall of shorts essentially once we get to 121K or 123K. Really, that would decimate everything. But again, with the current attitude that the bears have, they might just keep shorting it all the way up. So where there's not really that much liquidity here, that liquidity could get pushed back or added to as we continue to progress, because we're in a downtrend. It's the end of the bear market. Everything's going down. Tariffs are coming in, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? All these World War III, all these potentially negative things that they're not going to actually be negative for the price because they're not real. The tariffs are real, but the thing that's not real about them is the negative implications they have on the markets. World War III might be real to some degree, but the negative implications they have on the markets are also, I think, fabricated. Or what implications they have is fear. It's fear, and it's misguiding fear to make you panic sell your bags at the worst possible time. Remember, guys, right? The media is not there to help you. It's there to engage you. And it was very engaging here. Isn't it interesting how up here there was nothing but bullish story after bullish story for Bitcoin and crypto specifically for like 2 weeks? And then, do you guys remember how many bearish? I made a video. Let's go to YouTube real quick. Let's just see how long it takes to load. If it takes forever to load, then I'm not going to worry about it. It's taking forever to load, so maybe we won't worry about it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I made a video. Yeah, it is taking forever to load. I made a video talking about how we had bearish news. That was in the title. It was like Bitcoin bearish news, and in that video, I was like, we're probably at the bottom. Notice how the good news was at the top here, the relative high, nothing but good news. And then the bad news came out coincidentally at the bottom. People say that the news is what drives price, but there's an old saying in the TA world that goes, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news, right? The news didn't happen until we were down here, but we had the TA to suggest so we'd go lower nonetheless. And we've got the price moving up here, but we had some good news today that came out, and more good news coming out for crypto, specifically the 401k implications with crypto that Donald Trump signed, you know, the what is it, the EO executive order that he signed into law today, for crypto to be implemented in 401k accounts for American citizens, or maybe not even American citizens. I don't know, because you'd have to be an American citizen to have a 401k, right? In America, could you be a national and working here and get a 401? I don't know. I don't know how all that works, but anyways, you get what I'm trying to say, right? There was good news, but the charts, we predicted that we'd go to this exact area. This is the exact area of interest that we had in mind, you guys. And here we are now, chilling right here, 117K, closing above the 236, exactly what we wanted to see to validate this as a low, bouncing off the 382. The reaction here, you guys, ingrain it in your skull, ingrain it in your memory, because this is something that's very, very common, what we did here, okay? I'll explain it. You take a discernible, I hope it's obvious as to where and why I drew my fib. This is the most discernible low. This is the most discernible high. Low to high, we made a move up. This consolidation phase is a retracement of this move. We've got a bull flag going on, right? Bull flag going on that we probably just broke out of, actually. So we could take those measurements in a second too. It might not be as obvious on the daily time frame as it is on the 3-day time frame or even the weekly time frame. But looking at the daily time frame here, we're focusing on not the pattern, but the fib sequence, right? And what happened is you closed below the 382, which is actually not a good thing. It's not a good thing to get a day to close below the 382. That ups the chances that you go down here, right? Which is probably why a lot of people were calling for this price and still have been calling for this price, because they can't let go of it. But closing below the 382 and then getting a day that closes back above the 382 is a bullish reversal. It's a very powerful signal 9 out of 10 times, okay? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Nothing is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect setup, right? I mean, maybe it's a perfect setup, but there's no such thing as a guarantee, is what I should say. Anything can backfire, right? And what we had, not just closing back above the 382 the next day, we had a bullish engulfing candle here, which engulfed that whole day at the low. We not only did that, but we back tested the 382 for support. Everything good that could have happened literally happened. And then here we are, not but a few days later, closing above the 236, closing back in this range that we broke out of, you guys. The bears are in disbelief right now. I wonder what CoinMarketCap says, what the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is saying right now. Let's see. If it will load, and I think that it will, we just got to give it time. 59, yeah. Building up some greed here. And again, I've been watching these liquidation levels on the 1-day time frame, refreshing it as we go. These shorts really are piling in. And if you're looking at the 1 day, well, there's more longs than shorts. There's been more longs than shorts the past 3 days now. We've still moved up over the past 3 days, right? So where's the next area to liquidate? That'd be about $118,000. Maybe we eat all of this up and we go to about $119,000. I do expect that we're going to see some kind of bearish recourse soon. I don't think that we're just in a moment where we're moving all the way up like this. You know, we'll look back at it and it might feel like that, you know, in weeks from now, by the end of this month. But what I do expect is that we'll probably move up here. We'll get a lower high of this overall range, a lower high that breaks out of this trend. We will correct after the full moon or on the full moon or whatever, probably back down to these exact areas, if not a little bit lower, finding support either at this trend line or just below this trend line, back at the 236 even. Something between about, let's say, $117,500 to 116.8K. We'll find support around there and then continue to rally. That's my expectation. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And that could go into what I'm thinking is going to happen here is the full moon is on the 9th. We will pump over the weekend. I think we will have a momentary top, momentary high. I want to use the word top, right? Like this was a momentary high, and then we moved past it. I think we'll have our momentary high of this move on Sunday or Saturday tomorrow, and then Sunday or Monday, we should begin pulling back down to see that little bit of a correction within the correction before we really start to break out. Now, let's throw this idea of a bull flag into the mix, okay? Maybe it's a bull flag, maybe it's not. How would we take it, right? Would I draw from here? Would I draw from here? I feel like if we're looking at this on a 3-day time frame, it would be completely appropriate to take it from this low. So from a low here to a high here, that measure move would take us all the way up to about $140,000, which honestly makes a lot of sense to go to 140K. If we take the prior all-time highs that we had for a long time there back on January 20th to the low here, going right above the golden ratio, that's very common. Bitcoin does actually like to go above its golden ratio. It's a very common thing that it does. So we can move up, wick up above there, find some turbulence, much like we did here, and then continue to rally going into September all the way up to this 150, 160, potentially even 180K, 190K area. And I'm personally in favor of this 180, 190K area, specifically because if we look at the last cycle's high to low, we take this into account. High there, prior all-time high to the all-time low, right? Cycle high to cycle low, very significant fib. We came up. I'm going to delete this fib here. Just take notice that the 2272 here lines up very well with this orange line. The orange line is the 1618, which is the golden ratio. Okay, it's the golden ratio. To life, to the universe, to the fibs, to the, I mean, it's derived from the fibs, but to the charts, right? Let's see. So what I was going to say was, from the last cycle, right, this fib is from last cycle's high to low. We went right up to the 1272, the primary extension of that cycle, consolidated, and now we not only went above the 1272, but found support at it. It's very improbable that this next move, which we're in the middle of right now, ends anywhere but the golden ratio, right? What, we're going to stop just above the 1414 after doing this very bullish phase of consolidation. Why is it bullish? What makes it bullish? Don't just take my word for it. The fact that you went to the 1272 and you consolidated here, you pulled back, you couldn't even hit the 100 or the 886, 786. This area is actually the most common area that you would retrace to. That's a healthy retracement. You couldn't even do that because you're so damn bullish, right? And you back tested your prior resistance for support. You're doing all the right things, so many of them, all at once. You're not going to stop at the 1414 or just above it. That's not what's going to happen. So if you're not going to stop there, where's the next logical area? The golden ratio. And as I said earlier already in this video and yesterday's video and maybe even earlier today's video, depending on where you are in the world, it might have been late yesterday's video, Bitcoin likes to wick above its golden ratio. So this golden ratio here, the 1618, is at about $173,000. And I shouldn't say golden ratio. Golden ratio, yes, but not the golden retracement, the golden extension, okay? The 1618, not the 0618. It likes to go above there. So if that's at about $172,000, $175,000, what's just above it? $180K. I think that's where we're going to go, $180K. A lot of people are anticipating, and I hear it all over YouTube. I hear it all over X.com. A lot of people are calling for $140 to $160K. I don't know where they're getting these targets from. I mean, maybe it's from this more relative fib, but it's important to take, when we're doing things like this, where we're breaking out to new all-time highs, it's important to take dynamics that are at play from the prior cycle, right? These dynamics are respected every single cycle. The prior cycle high to prior cycle low, it carries us through, especially when we're in uncharted territory like we are now. 150 to 160K, there's a nice 1886, 200 area there. But the 2272, again, with the 2272, just like the 1618, you actually do like to go just above it. So 180K, 190K, that's where I ultimately think we're going. But let's dial it back. Let's come back down to earth, right? Because we've got a lot of work to do before then. We've validated our low. I should say we're set up to validate our low. It's nice that we closed, but let's get another day to close here. We came down early today. Look at that. We've already got a bullish wick to the downside. Love to see it. Anytime, imagine that we're back here, right? The most comparable day to this right here from an open to closing basis with this wick and everything, it was this day here, okay? Imagine that we're back here, okay? What came afterwards? We moved all the way up to $119,000, right? We're right in this exact same area now, effectively doing the same exact thing. Where is the likely area to find resistance at? Well, we can take a closing high. We can take a wick high. And we could take a closing high that's like on the low end of this range. Anything from 119 to 121K. And if we're looking at the liquidation levels, 119K makes a lot of sense because that would clear out the past 24 hours worth of longs. We look at the past week's worth of shorts. Past week's worth of shorts. This wall of liquidations ends at about 120K, which again, that's an area that we've 119, 120 right there. And then if we take a look at the 30-day time frame of all the shorts that have piled on in the past month, getting right up against this wall here, that's about 120K. And not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but typically what you will see is some kind of move right up against this wall. You'll move back because there will be so many longs that pile on in anticipation of the short squeeze. We'll move down, shake out some longs, pile on the shorts more, and then we will rip through the roof. If not in that exact fashion, maybe we just rip through the roof. Maybe we just go to $121,000, $123,000, in which case we got $121,000 up here at the wicking high. All I'm saying is we've been in this position before, and it was right here. And what did we do? We moved up. Like I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how high we're going to go. I just expect today to be a continuation of yesterday's move, right? Down here, it was, I don't know. Are we at the low? Maybe, maybe not, right? And I'm not talking about me. We've been pretty convinced that this was the low. We were just waiting for confirmation, for validation. But most of the market, right? I don't know. And in fact, maybe not even I don't know. A lot of people were talking about very, very popular accounts on X, on YouTube. Everybody's talking about 110K. There's plenty of people who are talking about the low being in and moving up as well, right? I'm not trying to pretend like I'm the only one who knew. Like nobody actually knows, right? It's all statistical probabilities. Anybody pretending that they actually know, they're just lying to you and to themselves. They're gonna get in trouble that way, but not like trouble with the law, but trouble with their finances. It was uncertain. The personality down here of the characteristics of the market, the psychology, people were like, I don't know. Is it going to go lower? Is it not? It broke this range. We had all this bullish news. Now there's all this negative news. I don't know. Tariffs. World War III. We're going down. And instead we went up. Now the FOMO sets in. Or maybe the disbelief. Maybe it's like, okay, it came up, but we've been here before. It's a lower high. We're going to come back down. We're going to move up that little bit more, clear out some shorts, really pile in the longs, and then I think right then and there we'll find some resistance. Full moon sets in. We went over that analysis. And this is the sturgeon moon. Every sturgeon moon, we pump coming into the moon, and then we actually dump afterwards. Whether you believe in that, the woo-woo stuff with moon psychology or not, doesn't matter. I'm not even basing my opinion off of that. I don't know anything about that woo-woo stuff. All I know is statistically, and if we go back in time over the past 10 years, there was one instance where we did not do this exact thing, what I'm about to say, where we pumped into the full moon, whether it was a day or two before or 4 days before or to the day or even afterwards, pumped into it, and then sometime within a week afterwards, corrected. And when we corrected, it's all relative to the move. So here, this is a pretty big move. After the full moon, we'll probably get a pretty big move down. Now, it's not going to be a correction that takes us lower. It could be. So sometimes, especially over the past 3 years, because we had that bear market too, we did drop a little bit lower over time. But that initial drop, I think, would take us back, depending on how high we go, would take us back to this price. So I guess what I'm saying here is not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you do move up, don't FOMO from here. FOMO now if you want to FOMO, but then if we drop, you better not sell, right? Just eat it and then we'll come back up. But I would say, if we do move up higher, there's a fly. I got to kill it, man. Flies don't like karate. If you do karate, they don't like that. They'll fly away. If you're not buying in now, definitely don't FOMO in here because it will likely come back down to this area or even lower and give you an opportunity to buy in before we really take off. So I don't know, guys. I don't think that it stops here. That's my main thoughts. Let's get into the 1 hour time frame and then we'll zoom out from there and we'll finish this thing up. Okay, 12 minutes left in this 1 hour time frame here. I don't know, you tell me. That looks like a pretty damn bullish candle. Have we been here before? Have we done this before? Does this remind you of anything? I feel like it reminds me of this last exact candle here. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this, right? It reminds me of this candle down here, kind of with a big wick to the downside. It reminds me of more or less exactly what we did here. We've had moments to reject, and it looks like we've tried to reject, and we're just not rejecting. This rejection is not rejecting. We are getting less volume as we're coming up, and that's not ideal. But I don't think we stop here. Let's look at the indicators, okay? The 1 hour indicators. I mean, look at this, right? Bearish divergence. This is probably why people are shorting on the way up, but we're finding support at the overbought zone. We're probably going to come up, find a double top overall, or get just above this high, and then we'll drop. Something like that's probably going to happen, right? We'll push up a little bit higher. Look at the volume coming in here. Volume has died off, but now volume's actually increasing relative to this, right? This volume relative to this consolidation phase is actually increasing, and if we do push higher over the next 11 minutes, if we close higher, that's actually a good sign. That's a good sign that we are going to move higher. Stochastics are very bullish. The MACD is the one thing I got a problem with. It's bullish too, but this bearish divergence is real, right? That's double bearish divergence there on this 1 hour time frame. So, you know, move up a little bit more, get that triple bearish divergence, maybe either, you know, by the end of this hour or sometime in the next hour, and then we'll probably correct down a little bit. When I say correct down a little bit, I would intend or anticipate, I mean, let's just see how intense these drops have been since we found our low, okay? Is that the low? No, that's the low there. Okay, so from a high to a low here, we dropped 2.4%. I mean, that's 2.6%. That's a pretty big drop. Let's take it in increments. Let's do this, right? I kind of see it as two phases, right? So that's a 1.7% drop. Here was a 2% drop. This one was a 1.2% drop. This one was a 1% drop. They're getting smaller as we're moving up. Of course they are, because we're more bullish. And the biggest drop has happened in this consolidation phase. Has happened here. So that we're not going to include that because that's such a small one. But thinking here, you know, anything from 1% to 2% essentially is what we'd see if we do move up to the area that I think we'd move up to, which is probably going to be from here, be like 118 to 119K. Let's see, high to low, right at the goal. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at that shenanigans right there. Golden ratio to the 1414. We're going up to 118.5 to 118.8, if not 9K, or higher. Or higher. We could go to 119, 120K. I mean, we've got a lot of shorts to eat through. It's very possible that we could get a little squeeze action going on here, but a little pump there. All I'm trying to say is if let's say we stop at 118.5, because if we take the minimum target, the drop potential where we will pull back to, we're going to be potentially overestimating it, which I think is good. I'd rather overestimate the drop and underestimate the pump. That way we're prepared for the worst in that sense. I hope that makes sense, right? Like if we're taking a 1% drop from here, it's going to be at 117.2K, a little bit below where we are now. But if it's from up here, it's at higher prices than we are now. Does that make sense? So I'd rather be conservative. A 1% drop when we pull back would be here. If we move higher, it depends. We don't have to move higher. You know, I think it does depend on this 1 hour time frame closing green, but maybe not. And then a 2% drop here, a little bit over 2%. I'm going to take it a little bit further even than this drop here. I'm going to take it down to this high just because we've moved up a little bit more. Maybe we do drop a little bit more. I'm going to take it down to here where we had prior resistance, prior support, can you see it, right? There's support there, resistance, 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 support there, very significant area. That fly got me. He got me, man. But I did karate and he went away. I was like, whoosha. You see it? Do you see the fly? You probably don't see the fly because flies hate karate. Anyways, what else would that be? Let's do this real quick. Hold on. Let's take a low to high. Oh, that was not the low. But let's just assume that we found our high and that we are moving down now. I'm not assuming that we are, but we're going to do it just for funsies here and just see where that would make sense to go to. The 382 at 115.4. I doubt, I would think so. If we have found our high, I would think we do go back to 115.4 or maybe even 115K itself. I doubt that we go lower than that though, especially because again, I'm anticipating that we pump into today. So don't be mistaken. If we move down from here, we're still going to come back up and rally through the end of the day. That's my expectation. But looking at this here, I think there's more bullish things going on than bearish things. We'd likely find support. I mean, we found support at prior resistance. We did the same thing here. I don't know, man. That's a good bullish close. Even if we close here, we were up a little bit higher just a second ago, but even here, I think that it's fine. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame and see what we're doing here. Okay. 4 hour just got overbought. I mean, we haven't been over, damn, man. Right? We haven't been overbought this whole consolidation phase. Since the high, since the all-time high, we have not been overbought. This is something different, guys. This is something different. And I mean, clear. Can you see that this move is clearly different than any other up move that we've had so far? It's the lowest high, but it's more bullish, and we're getting those readings on the MACD crossing above the 0, on the stochastics here in the overbought zone, deep in the overbought zone, on the RSI being actually in the overbought zone. The last time that we were overbought, and I don't want to compare it to here, I want to compare it to the last time that we first got overbought, okay? The last time that we were overbought, did the move stop here? Well, it stopped for a day, and then we continued to rally. I'm not expecting this exact thing to happen. I really just am using it as a reference of continuation. You don't like that? That's a one-off. Let's go to the next one, okay? Here, when you got overbought, when you first got overbought, did it stop here? Because this is where you first got overbought. Did it stop here? No, you continued to grow for about a day. This is the 4-hour time frame. 6 candles is about a day. And then you consolidated. What about the time before that? Okay, in and out. In and out. Is this in and out? Well, we got 3 hours and 5 minutes left, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it is in and out, though, you guys. I don't think it is. I don't think that's what's happening right now. We rejected the 0 here. Overbought before, right there, right? Did it stop right here? No, you continue to go for 1, 2, 3, about half a day. Right? I'm just saying. We just got overbought here. I would think we haven't stopped yet. We're going to continue to rally. And again, these liquidation zones are no joke. Bullish on the 1 hour, bullish on the 4 hour. The idea, again, is to move up anywhere from like 118.5 to 120K. I'm thinking 118.5, 119K, somewhere in there. And then we likely do from there pull back to either these prices or at the lowest, you know, maybe like 115.7. If we move up. If I'm wrong and we move down from here, there's a strong chance we can move down as low as like 115K. Right? That would be the anticipation there. So other than that, guys, we're really just on a path higher. We're on our path higher. Our path all the way up to likely somewhere around 130K, 140K, probably over the next week or two. And then by the end of the month, we'll be up at that area or higher. And then going into September, we should be reaching for $170,000 to $190,000. That's my expectation. I don't have anything else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.